I had this thing where I just felt invincible, and I did a lot of wild stuff leading up to the fight.
Brock Lesnar!
BJ, my opinion, is the best fight in the world.
Really?
Yes.
Guy who's never seen adversity so far in the cage, smashes everybody, right? He goes out there, gets a really tough guy. And
What they believe can be the top talent in the country, they will juice you as a kid. They juice their cadets.
Number 10. Jon Jones. Jon Jones is a former UFC champion who was banned for 15 months in 2017 after testing positive for an anabolic steroid.
Was in deep, deep trouble. Big elbows from Johnny Bones Jones. And Jones is trying to finish this fight, Mike.
I had this thing where I just felt invincible, and I did a lot of wild stuff leading up to the fight.
However, Jones feels he has been cleared of being a steroid cheat after changes to the threshold levels for certain prohibited drugs by the United States Anti-Doping Agency, USADA, in 2019. Under the new legal limit, Jones would have been cleared, and his win over Daniel Cormier in 2017 would not be a no contest but a knockout victory. Jones has always denied using substances to gain an edge over his opponents. He stated that he accidentally took estrogen blockers in 2014, which were told to be Cialis, a male enhancement pill. Estrogen blockers are used to suppress and counter the effects of steroids. Jones has faced several controversies regarding failed drug tests throughout his career. He first tested positive in 2016 when he was expected to face Daniel Cormier at UFC 200. Jones popped for two banned substances, hydroxychloroquine and letrozole metabolite, both known to be anti-estrogen, which are used to counteract the effects of steroids inside the body. Yikes. Number 9. Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar is a former WWE wrestler and UFC heavyweight champion.
Can you see me now? Can you see me now? Brock Lesnar!
Who has faced numerous allegations of steroid usage throughout his professional wrestling and MMA careers. These allegations have been fueled by the controversy surrounding his impressive physique and dominant performance in the ring and octagon. In 2016, Lesnar was hit with a year-long doping ban from UFC after testing positive for clomiphene, an estrogen agent, before his fight against Mark Hunt at UFC 200 on July 9, 2016. Clomiphene is prohibited at all times under the UFC anti-doping policy, which follows the WADA prohibited list. The agent can indirectly raise natural testosterone levels in the body and can also counter the side effects of anabolic steroid use. While the USADA did not say that Lesnar tested positive for steroids, steroid users sometimes turn to anti-estrogenic drugs like clomiphene to reduce the rise in estrogen levels that accompanies the rise in testosterone levels. Lesnar's ban ended on July 15, 2017, although it did not keep him from appearing in WWE events. Lesnar has exhibited signs of steroid use like flushed skin, asymmetrical upper body muscle, and enlarged breast tissues. And even though these are just allegations, we're not too sure. Number 8. Anderson Silva. Anderson Silva is a former UFC middleweight champion.
BJ, my opinion, is the best fight in the world.
Really?
Yes.
I have two guys, the best in the world. The first guy, the name is...
who has faced several controversies regarding failed drug tests throughout his career. In 2015, Silva tested positive for drostanolone and androstane in an out-of-competition drug test administered on January 9th, 3 weeks prior to his UFC 183 headlining bout with Nick Diaz. Silva won the bout via unanimous decision. Silva broke his silence 24 hours after the news broke that he tested positive for steroids and denied any wrongdoing. In 2018, Silva tested positive for two separate substances in his recent USADA drug test, methyltestosterone and a diuretic. Methyltestosterone is considered an anabolic agent in the UFC anti-doping policy, which carries a maximum suspension of 2 years. Silva has denied knowingly using any banned substances and is currently going through the adjudication process with USADA. Silva has admitted using the anti-anxiety and the insomnia medications benzodiazepines oxazepam and temazepam, but has again denied using PEDs. Silva blamed the ingestion of illegal anabolic steroids and using an erectile dysfunction dietary supplement that was suspected of being contaminated. He continued to proclaim his innocence of using steroids, pointing to his age as a factor as to why he'd be silly to use them. Number 7. Frank Mir. Frank Mir is a former UFC heavyweight champion who tested positive for the banned substance turinabol following his defeat to Mark Hunt at UFC Fight Night 85 in Brisbane, Australia on March 19, 2016. The United States Anti-Doping Agency, USADA, found a small amount of oral turinabol metabolites in his system in an in-competition drug test. Oral turinabol's effects include increased strength and endurance. Mir denied knowingly taking the anabolic steroid and stated that he has passed a February 2 USADA out-of-competition drug test. He did not understand how only a small amount of this banned substance was in his body when he was clean just a few weeks before the bout. Mir said he had asked USADA to test his B sample. Mir admitted to using the anti-anxiety and insomnia medications benzodiazepines oxazepam and temazepam, but denied using PEDs.
But at this point, I just want to perform at a high level again and show that what I'm capable of doing. Going out there and not only losing, a guy who's never seen adversity so far in the cage smashes everybody, right? He goes out there against a really tough guy.
He also stated that he takes very few supplements, and the one thing he does take is Adderall, for which he has a therapeutic usage exemption, TUE. Mir was also a past user of testosterone replacement therapy, TRT, but had a TUE for that as well before it was banned. Mir faced a 2-year suspension from USADA and said that his career would likely be over if it was suspended for 2 years. Number 6. Chael Sonnen. Chael Sonnen is a former UFC fighter who has faced several controversies regarding failed drug tests throughout his career. In 2010, after UFC 117, the California Commission announced that Sonnen's testosterone to epitestosterone ratio was 16.9 to 1, more than 4 times its legal limit of 4 to 1. Sonnen's suspension in California ultimately wasn't because of his elevated TE ratio, but rather for a failure to properly disclose its usage of testosterone replacement therapy. Sonnen has claimed that he's never taken steroids, insisting that not all banned substances are performance enhancing. He has also stated that he's never ever been accused of taking steroids.
Oh, here comes about 7 in a row. He's gonna stop it. It's all over.
What they believe can be the top talent in the country, they will juice you as a kid. They juice their cadets.
However, some sources suggest that his high TE ratio was a clear indication of steroid use. Sonnen was fined and suspended by the California State Athletic Commission, CSAC, for his high testosterone levels. Number 5. Wanderlei Silva. Wanderlei Silva is a former UFC light heavyweight who admitted to avoiding a random drug test on May 24, 2014, because he was taking banned substances at the time. Silva didn't get buried at the Nevada Athletic Commission hearing on Friday, but the shovels were out after he admitted to taking a banned substance as well as running out on a drug test. Silva's old foe, Rampage Jackson, called him out for a 4th fight and accused the Brazilian of being on steroids for all 3 of their meetings. Jackson reacted in anger to Silva posting some videos of the ex-murderer knocking out Rampage and called for a 4th fight between the two. Number 4. Josh Barnett. Josh Barnett is a former UFC heavyweight champion who was tested positive for steroids on multiple occasions. In 2002, he was suspended for 6 months by the Nevada State Athletic Commission after a post-fight urinalysis revealed the presence of 3 anabolic agents: boldenone metabolite, floxymesterone metabolite, and nandrolone metabolite in his body when he defeated Randy Couture to win the title. Barnett denied using the anabolic steroids and challenged the NSAC's testing protocol. In 2009, the California State Athletic Commission denied Josh Barnett a license because he tested positive for an anabolic steroid. Barnett's June 25th drug test was positive for a 2A-methyl-5A androstand 3A all 17-1. The CSAC learned of the results and informed promoters Affliction Entertainment and M1 Global that Barnett's August 1st fight against Fedor Emelianenko would not be approved. Number 3. Chad Mendes. Chad Mendes is a former UFC featherweight fighter who was suspended for 2 years by the United States Anti-Doping Agency (USADA) in 2016 for taking GHRP6, a growth hormone. Mendes accepted his punishment and stated that he didn't do his homework and that was a big mistake. Mendes revealed in an interview with The Drive in Sacramento that this substance containing GHRP6 was a cream that he used to treat plaque psoriasis, a skin condition he's been dealing with for years. He stated that he had no idea what GHRP6 was before his test results came back positive. Mendes said he's used just about every treatment under the sun to control the psoriasis in his body, but nothing has really helped in the past. Mendes said he was disappointed to concede to a 2-year suspension for using skin cream to help his psoriasis, but knew it was still his fault for doing it without checking the ingredients first. He was eligible to fight again on June 10, 2018. Number 2. Lyoto Machida. Lyoto Machida is a former UFC light heavyweight champion who was suspended for 18 months by the USADA for use of a banned substance. Earlier in 2016, Machida admitted to taking the substance prior to a fight in April with Dan Anderson. He was subsequently removed from the contest and eventually failed an out-of-competition drug test. During an out-of-competition test conducted on April 8, 2016, Machida declared the use of a product containing 7-keto dehydropandosterone, 7-keto DEA on his sample collection paperwork. 7-keto DEA is a prohibited substance in the class of anabolic agents and prohibited at all times under the UFC anti-doping policy, which has adopted the WADA prohibited list. Machida openly revealed that he had taken the substance before taking the out-of-competition test, which resulted in a positive sample, and it supports his claim that he was unaware that the drug was banned from all USADA-regulated competition, as the UFC is. Machida said, "It was my mistake, and I own up to it because I didn't know about it. Gotta love accountability." Number 1. TJ Dillashaw. TJ Dillashaw is a former UFC bantamweight champion who was stripped of his title in 2019 after testing positive for EPO, a performance-enhancing drug. Dillashaw served a 2-year suspension and made a comeback at UFC Vegas 32, where he outpointed Corey Sandhagen in July 2021. Despite his return to the octagon, Dillashaw continues to face accusation of steroid use. Current champion Aljamain Sterling believes that Dillashaw is still finding ways to keep himself on steroids. However, Dillashaw has denied these allegations and aims to prove that performance-enhancing drugs were not the only reason for his success prior to his suspension. He believes that his performance at UFC on ESPN 27 will erase the controversy surrounding his past steroid usage. That's all for this video, folks. See you next time.